Khalifa, Minister of Oil, His Excellency Samir Nas, Chairman of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Simon Galpin, Managing Director of the Economic Development Board, and Mr. Sibarel, Ambassador Sibarel was supposed to be with us, but unfortunately he had to stay at home to await our visit. But we will also thank him for also stating that he will also would just like to be with us. I also welcome all AmSham members, esteemed participants and guests, and would like to thank our main sponsor, the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Bahrain Economic Development Board for their continued support to AmSham. Mr. Donahue, your visit to Bahrain today is symbolic as much as it is important. It re-emphasizes the historic and close relationship which exists between Bahrain and the United States, not solely from a governmental standpoint, but more so from a private sector perspective. AmSham Bahrain is honored to have you with us this evening. We look up to the U.S. Chamber because under your leadership, the Chamber became a success story and a powerhouse. Recognizing your achievements and that of the Chamber and the support extended to us by Kush Choksey and his able team, AmSham Bahrain managed over the past few years to enjoy a significant growth in its membership, including providing services and programs. It also enjoyed being the seat of MENA AmSham in 2016 to 2018. The Bahrain US FTA was signed on 11 January 2006 in recognition of the future potential in business, trade and investment. Since it came into being, the international engagement prompted Bahrain to reform its economy, revise its laws, open its markets, invest in training, and help remove barriers. This is an achievement. Riding on previous successes, AmSham Bahrain's aim today is to continue with creating a platform to enable US and Bahraini companies enter each other's markets, aiding them to compete locally, gain access and advantage, win projects, and to successfully advocate issues that could support their business flow. This is particularly important with respect to small and medium-sized enterprises which depend on exports as means of sustaining and expanding their businesses. To ensure unfettered flow of goods, services, and investment, we at AmSham Bahrain call on the U.S. Chamber to pursue reinitiating the U.S. Export-Import Bank, Exim Bank, to provide finance and other support to help U.S. business compete for new opportunities abroad, and to enable Bahraini companies to secure finance, filling a gap that cannot be fulfilled by private banks. To address with the U.S. government approaches to handling unfair trade to combat tariffs, in particular when it comes to Bahrain. To encourage oil and gas companies to compete for Bahrain tenders and partnerships. To support AmSham by encouraging U.S. companies to compete for Bahrain alternative energy tenders. To support AmSham with its efforts to hosting the Waste Transformation Forum, to encourage U.S. technology and companies to invest in new industries and manufacture recycled materials, to support AmSham with its drive towards setting up in Bahrain U.S. customs pre-clearance. As you may recognize, the above initiative touched on some of the issues discussed during your ministerial meetings this morning. AmSham has earmarked them as part of its ongoing drive. Once again, we welcome you to Bahrain, and I hope that this will be one visit among many others. Prior to calling on Mr. Samir Nas, Chairman of the Bahrain Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to the podium, I would like to briefly introduce Basim Al-Sa'i, who is enhancing trade and businesses between us and the United States. Governments normally pave the way by signing MOUs,
standards, and specifically the FTA that has been signed with the United States. And unfortunately, I see myself that we have not, as private sector, have taken advantage of that as much as we should. I think there's due to many reasons. The main reasons is communication, and the logistics also plays a big part in how we could stimulate businesses and invite our counterparts from the United States to come and see the opportunities available in Bahrain and in the region, and use Bahrain as a hub for enhancing businesses and trade, and as well as establishing manufacturing bases here for a market the size of the MENA region, which is almost 350 million, the size of the United States. I think there's huge opportunities and ways for United States companies to come and shake hands with local businessmen, Bahraini businessmen, and promote this with the advantage of the FTA agreement. I think it's a huge thing, and it's a forgotten thing, and unfortunately we failed from that. I don't know how long Zayed has been since it's been FTA was signed.
2006.
12 years, and I think what we have done so far is very little. There is huge opportunities and where we can go forward from there. I think these kinds of visits with Mr. Donahue here will give us more help to enhance that. And we would like at the Chamber of Commerce to create a direct link, an online link between Bahrain Chamber of Commerce with our members, with the U.S. Chamber, to create more communication with our counterparts, with emphasis on SMEs. SMEs, I think, is the key word these days. It's ringing a bell everywhere in Bahrain and as well as the United States. And with that, I would like to thank Zayed for standing with us and helping us with his numerous visits to Washington and the discussions on a bigger scale, at state scale, to eliminate the barriers of tariffs that have been introduced recently. And thank you very much.
We met last November in DC, and we made a promise to His Royal Highness that we will visit us soon, and we kept that promise. We would like to see more of you here. Your team has been very helpful, very supportive, whether in initiatives here in Bahrain or back in DC. We'd like to thank them for that as well, and the AmCham really has been playing a great role in connecting Bahrain and the United States. Before going into the tariff issue, I'd like to take a step back. It's very important to look at history between countries over time. Don't just take an isolated incident or an isolated period. Bahrain and the United States have a long-standing relationship. We've been partners in many fronts, in trade and security, over 100 years of a relation. 100.
That's what the British.
I know. I went to school in America, you went to school in England, that's why. If we look at the free trade agreement, I think it's one of the success stories of Bahrain and the U.S. Prior to coming into effect, trade between the two countries was about $400 million. Today, it's edging on $3 billion. So you can see the growth that we've both experienced over this period. In that period, Bahrain has attracted about $480 million of U.S. investments in Bahrain. So that's been a huge value added to our economy. It's created jobs, it's created export value, it's created diversity. And I think it'd be wrong just to take the isolated tariff issue and try to build a case on that. The tariff issue was not something targeted to Bahrain. It was an issue that was more prevalent in the United States, and it was imposed on the whole world, really. Where do we stand? We're family. I hope we don't get to the state of being in-laws. That would be a serious problem. Let's keep it at that. But there's a dialogue. It's ongoing with the USDR, with the Department of Commerce in Washington. And there is a plan to engage with them on how to find a way out of this issue. Of course, there's two avenues we can seek. One is a country exemption, which is the broader picture and the more complex one. And one is a product exemption, which is the faster route. And it's not as a canvas solution as a country would be, but we can go by product. And that is a process done with the Department of Commerce, whereby the U.S. importer applies for an exemption. We feel that is the shortest route, and we've communicated with the Bahraini companies that supply aluminum products to the United States to pursue that route, and we're hopeful that we can get some success out of it. What we reckon is that the products supplied from Bahrain to the United States mostly are in semi-finished or raw materials, so they don't really create a big threat to U.S. manufacturers. In fact, they enhance manufacturing in the United States because they go into further production within the United States. Some of it goes into the military industry in the United States, so that's added national security value for the United States. And we've been working with the embassy here. Our embassy in DC has been quite active. Hopefully with the help of the chamber and their guidance, we will get some traction on the issue again. I think the dust is settling now, and we are seeing a lot of clarity than we saw 6 months ago. NAFTA, in my opinion, is the turning point. Maybe you say the elections, but I think NAFTA, because it's the biggest. If NAFTA gets sorted and it's out of the way, then I think the rest will fall in line. In terms of an FTA agreement with the US, we don't have any issues with the FTA. They're happy with it, we're happy with it, because it's been, unlike other FTAs which the US is not happy about, it's been a fair and equitable deal from day one, where both parties have gained out of it, both parties have increased their trade and their investment portfolio. I'd like to thank Samir for saving me the agony of saying again and again that we need our private sector to go and invest in America. Unfortunately, I can sit here and say $480 million has been invested in Bahrain. I don't have a number to say how much of Bahrain has been invested in the US. And that, I think, is an opportunity we're truly missing out on. It's a huge market. We have great potential. Probably we've done some investments through our banking sector, investment banking in particular, but I think there's a huge potential for us to go and invest in the States as private sector, and hopefully with the leadership of the new board at BCCI, you guys might work for a plan to focus on that.
Thank you. Just one